if you have no capacity for like dealing with it, you're just going to never put yourself in those situations anymore intentionally. And it's those situations that the growth actually comes from. So you have to force yourself into those situations.
I got triggered and I got super heated about a situation with one of my good friends. And immediately I was angered. I was pissed off and I blew up, right?
Yeah.
So I blew up because I was angered. And then I got a few days to sit down and think about it. I meditated one day for 8 hours actually. But I meditated for like 8 hours on this thing. And I realized, and this is shit that was like so far down in my past. But like back in high school, I was on the wrestling team and you guys know I was homeless. So I was living in my truck and then the week before state, I was like not feeling good. I was sitting up in the hills alone, blah, blah, blah. And I tried to kill myself. So I actually went through like this thing where I tried to kill myself. Went to the hospital, like they took care of me, whatever. I didn't tell anybody on the wrestling team. I didn't tell anything that happened. Right. And then I went to state. I won state. And everybody was congratulating me, and I thought, hey, this would be a good time to tell them about this. And so I started telling them about this, hey, I thank God I didn't hang up my life, and like I actually came in here and won and shit. And so I was telling them, and then one of my assistant coaches, wrestling coaches, started laughing at me. And I fucking took off on him. I got in a huge fist fight with him. He whooped my ass. I'm not going to lie. He whooped my ass in front of everybody, right? But it was me. It was my emotions, and I took off. Never talked to him again from that day. But from that meditation, that came back up. And that's what angered me from the situation with my friend. And so I had to solve that. I actually had to reach out to that coach, apologize, talk to him. First time since that happened. And you solve those issues from your past that derived anger in this situation, and now you can solve this situation, right? You're like, hey, I wasn't actually angered at you. I was angered at this situation that happened in my past that derives anger every time that it comes up. And it didn't consciously come up for me. It subconsciously came up and created that anger. But I had to dig back down and find that shit.
Yeah.
Right? You dig that down, you find that shit, you solve it, and guess what? Moving forward now, you can untie any emotion from that, and you'll be able to better handle those situations moving forward.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And so, but those are levels, and that's what we're talking about here is like, guys, the level, just because you level up doesn't mean you don't have problems, doesn't mean you don't have work, doesn't mean that your journey all of a sudden becomes easier. And some things do become easier. But some things get harder.
Yep.
And you're just better. And this is what my wife just said the other day. It's like her sister came out and was like, dude, you guys go through so much shit. But what I've noticed over the last 10 years is that you guys are better at handling problems. Mm-hmm. Like you don't let problems handle you anymore.
Yep.
You handle problems.
Yep.
Problem comes in. You guys just talk about it real quick. Put emotional intelligence to it. Boom. Solve the issue. Move on.
Yep.
And so we're able to go through problems, go through fires a lot quicker. It's not that we're not going through them.
Yep.
It's that we're not emotionally tied to a lot of them anymore.
Yep.
And so when we see something happening, we're able to move on, continue to build, continue to grow, continue to guide people, because that's what it's all about.
Yep.
It's all about guiding. It's all about persuading people to invest in themselves, build themselves, grow themselves, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think you're able to like back in the day, I remember like even through college when something bad would happen, like you'd feel overwhelmed about a situation almost to the point like you wouldn't take action on solving it because you didn't even have a way to start thinking about it. And I think and I don't know if this is emotional intelligence or if this is a bad thing, but like I've gotten a lot better at compartmentalizing things, being like, okay, yes, this is technically a stressful situation. Mm-hmm. And like when it first happens, like you kind of feel a little bit of that stress, but I think at a certain point you grow an ability to like push it to the side and be like, yes, that's happening, but I need to now actually like take action and take certain steps in order to solve that thing.
Yeah.
And so I think you kind of grow past that point of letting it feel like it's just like you're drowning in the situation. And it's more like, no, I can actually swim.
Yeah.
Type of situation. And I think that's like, at least like some of the things that are happening more recently, and like with the server thing, for example, super fucking stressful.
Yeah.
For sure. And like at the first moment, it's like, oh God, I remember when we were walking around in we were in Denver when that first happened. It was like, oh, fucking shit. Like, well, this isn't good. And we're thinking about all the things like, well, that means this is down. That means this is down. That means this. That means this. And like, it was a little stressful for a little while, but then like you wake up the next day and it's like, all right, well, what are we going to do about it? And so for me, that's like, when I think of like emotional intelligence, I see it like from that side, at least as far as like problems taking place and how do you deal with them and all of that stuff. But I think like the important point is you need to put yourself in situations where those problems can even arise in the first place.
Yeah, they arise.
Because most people are going to take path, or a lot of people in the world, unfortunately, they take path of least resistance because they can't deal with that initial swell of the wave of like the negative emotions or whatever. If you have no capacity for like dealing with it, you're just going to never put yourself in those situations anymore intentionally. And it's those situations that the growth actually comes from. So you have to force yourself into those situations. And I think a good example of it is like cold calling. When you first start like on your like sales journey or whatever, I used to have like a incredible anxiety, like probably the first like few weeks of like knowing that I had to start cold calling, being like, I wouldn't even do the cold call because I could feel the anxiety about it.
Yep.
And then at a certain point, like I just started doing it and like I was still a little bit anxious the first few times, but then you just keep doing it. And all of a sudden it's like, you just established a new baseline of how you operate. And like those emotions kind of go away. You ask someone like, for example, Simon or the Lordies or like someone, they probably felt that when they first started cold calling.
Yep.
Right. I'm sure they felt that, but then it's like, you do it enough and now it's like, it is what it is. Like I'm trying to help these people.